Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some of the key language techniques needed for functional skills level 1 and level 2. So we're going to understand the key techniques needed not only for the reading assessment but also the ones that you want to include when you're doing your writing assessment as well. So by the end of the video we'll be able to recall the key DeForest techniques, understand how to use higher level language techniques, and finally revise in preparation for the language techniques quiz. So when referring to the language techniques quiz, this is a video that's going to be loaded up a week from today, so do look out for it. It's going to test you on all the things that we cover in this video and all of those key techniques as well. So look at the anagram below and use the clues to work out what each letter stands for. So if you're not sure what we mean when we say an anagram is something that we use all the time in English and maths, and it helps us to actually recall some of the key techniques or some of the key methods that we need for the subject. So for example, one of the big ones we use in English is called DeForest techniques. So each one of these letters will stand for a key technique that you should know if you've been studying functional skills for a while. So if you think over the clues then, they should be able to help you to work out what a few of these stand for. So clue number 1. So one of the R's is a question that doesn't require an answer. So think, what kind of language technique do we use that's a question, but not a question we actually get a verbal response? Clue number 2. This technique is a fact that also includes numerical data. When we talk about numerical data, we mean using numbers to support our ideas. And clue number 3, the final one. This is when you repeat the same letter 2 or more times in closely connected words. Now if you want to pause the video here and start thinking about what these might stand for, then please feel free to do so. We're now going to jump ahead and we're going to go through what DeForest actually stands for. So here are DeForest techniques, and what I'd like to think about is which ones you think would be effective to use in your writing. So DeForest then, the first D stands for direct address. Sometimes, depending on your teacher, they might also say that it counts for discourse markers. If you're not too sure what we mean by these, don't worry, because we're going to go through all of these in due course. Secondly, we have alliteration, so that is when you're repeating the same letter in close conjunction with each other 2 or more times. You have a fact, which is something that is true, an opinion, rhetorical question, repetition, emotive language, statistics, and finally a triplet or a rule of 3. It's also sometimes called a group of 3. It's a really easy one to get mixed up, but it's important that you go through the next part now and you actually make sure that you're aware of not only how to define each of these techniques, but also if you can think of a few examples that we can then use in our writing later on. An important thing to think about as well is our teacher's top tip. So using these as part of your plan during your writing assessment can really help you to remember the techniques that you've used. So what you want to do is not use every single one of them multiple times. Instead, what you want to do is use a range of techniques and try not to use the same one over and over again in your writing. Look at the table below to test your understanding of these techniques. So if you actually want a physical copy of this as well, the link will be available in the description below, and we're just going to go through it together. So again, as we said before, if you want to pause the video here and go through it at your own time, please feel free to do so. You can see in the left hand column we have our DeForest techniques. In the middle column we have the definitions for each DeForest technique, and then on the furthest column to the right we have our examples, and the first one has been done for you. So for direct address, when a message is conveyed directly to a person, and an example for this would be, you need to start exercising, it is so much fun, you will not regret it. So what I'd like you to do now, I'd like to pause the video and see if you can figure out what the definitions are going to be for the next techniques, and if you can, try and come up with an example as well. Now, if you want us to go through that together, then that's fine. We're now going to look at the actual definitions and the examples. So the first one would be alliteration. So this is when we use the same letter 2 or more times in close conjunction to each other, as stated previously. An example could be, the day out at the theme park was fun and fantastic. And you can see there I've actually put bold and the two F's, which is indicating the two words, or the two letters I should say, that is being repeated. Next we have a fact. So this should be nice and straightforward. This is something that could be proven to be true. And the example is exercise can be fantastic fun for all the family. And the reason why we know it's a fact is because it's saying it can be. So we're not saying definitively that it is fun, because that is down to opinion. So it is a fact that some people would enjoy it or could find it to be fun for themselves and their family. And the final one on this slide then is the opinion. So a view or judgment about something. And an example of this would be, I believe that English is the best subject in the world. Now, clearly, as an English teacher, that is going to be my opinion, and we all know that it's not really going to be true. It's not a fact. It's something based on my own views and opinions. So if you think back to our deforest techniques now, so far we've had a look at the D, which is direct address, the A, which is alliteration, the F, which is fact, and the O, which is opinion. So we're now going to move on. I'm going to look at the rest of the key techniques in the acronym as well. Complete the rest of the table to show your understanding of the language techniques. So the same as we've said before then, if you want to pause the video here and go through at your own pace, please feel free to do so. The first one we're going to look at is a rhetorical question, and you can see there from the example, it says, who doesn't want to improve their health? So hopefully that will give you some idea of what a rhetorical question does. If you're not too sure, here's the definition. So the definition would be a question that doesn't require an answer. So you might be asking yourself, if it's a question that doesn't require an answer, what on earth is the point of this? And the real reason for rhetorical questions is to actually engage with the audience and really to make them question things and absorb the information that you're giving them. Next we have emotive language. So we can see there from the definition that these are specific words that invoke an emotional response. So it's not as simple as things like love, hate and joy. It's words that we automatically have an emotional reaction to. And you can see it here in the example. So the animal was taken away because it was neglected by its owner. And the word there that may be considered emotive is that word neglected. Now anyone that's a reasonable human being will know that neglect is a bad thing, and therefore we're going to react emotionally when we hear that a dog or an animal has been neglected. Next we have statistic. So you can see there from the example, it says 90% of people who exercise will live longer, and this is where we use numerical data to present a fact. Then for our final one, our triplet, our rule of three, also called a group of three, this is 3 positives or 3 negative reasons to support your views or ideas on a topic. An example might be, English is fun, exciting, and fills my heart with joy. So you can see there that I've got 3 ideas towards the common goal, and the basic principle with this is that 3 ideas are stronger than 1, and therefore it's going to make your writing or your argument that much more effective. High level response. To achieve a pass at level 2 functional skills or GCSE, you need to use the following techniques. So you have a simile, a metaphor, and a hyperbole. Now don't worry too much if you haven't heard of these before, we will be going through these in more detail. The first thing I'd like to think about is, which of these techniques do you know already? Then if you can push yourself a little bit further, think, can you revise and research what each of these techniques mean? A good idea would be to either look it up using your mobile device or any revision material you may have. And then mega challenge, look at the sentences on the next slide to demonstrate your understanding. Class feedback. Check your understanding against answers below and identify which techniques have been used in the following sentences. So first of all then, we have our definitions. So a simile, this is when we make a comparison by using the words like or as. So for example, if you were to say you're as fast as a cheetah, that would be a simile, because we've used like or as to make a comparison. Next we have a metaphor. So this is where you make a comparison without using like or as. So if we were to say that someone was as tall as a mountain, that would be a simile, because we've used as or like. If we were to say the man was a mountain, that would be a metaphor, because we haven't used the comparison with the like or as. And the final one then, our hyperbole. This is simply when you use exaggeration to emphasize a point or situation. Now it's very easy to get these things confused because these are all related terms. All of these are what we refer to as figurative language, so it's important that you practice identifying which ones of these have been used in writing as well. So now we're going to have a look at 5 key questions. I just want you to pause the video, go through it at your own pace, and see if you can figure out for each sentence what language technique has been used. So for our first one then, the meal was so delicious it was like the food of kings and queens. Number 2, by the time the food arrived at our table, I was starving to death. Number 3, when my meal arrived, I was shocked to find a mountain of food on my plate. Number 4, the restaurant was a garbage dump. And number 5, last one, 90% of the customers enjoyed their dining experience, with one stating, "Who wouldn't want to eat here? The food is simply out of this world." So again, for each of these sentences, you need to identify what language technique has been used. Do read them carefully because you might have a circumstance where more than one technique has been used, not just our higher level techniques as well, but also we might have used a few of our deforest techniques in there. So if you want to go through it yourself, please feel free to do so. We're now going to jump ahead and go through the answers in the next part of the video. Class feedback. Check your answers against the correct ones below. So we have our 5 sentences here, and you can see for the first one, the meal was so delicious it was like the food of kings and queens. And we can see there's one technique there, and we know because it's used like or as that it must be a simile. So it's comparing the food to the food that someone of the royal family might eat. Number 2, by the time the food arrived at our table, I was starving to death. Now that's a hyperbole because what they're doing there is they're over-exaggerating just how hungry they were feeling. Number 3, when my meal arrived, I was shocked to find a mountain of food on my plate. Now there's not literally a mountain of food on the plate. What they're doing there is they're exaggerating by saying that the portion size was very large. Number 4, the restaurant was a garbage dump. So what they've done here is they've used metaphorical language to over-exaggerate just how bad the actual restaurant was. 90% of the customers enjoyed their dining experience, with one stating, "Who wouldn't want to eat here? The food is simply out of this world." So in this one, as we said in the previous part, does contain more than one technique. So you have a statistic with our 90%, we have our rhetorical question with "who wouldn't want to eat here," and we also have a hyperbole as well when we say it's simply out of this world. An important thing to think about before we move on then would be to try and stretch and challenge yourself. Try and get a little bit of practice using these techniques so they become a normal way of actually embedding them into your own writing, and try and write a sentence about a typical dining experience and try and use more than one language technique. And the more you do this, the more it's going to become second nature, and you're going to find that you're using them all the time in your writing. So in terms of our next video, what we're going to be looking at is the following things. So we're going to recall the key language techniques that we've just covered in this video. We're going to apply your understanding to test your knowledge on the language technique quiz. And then you're going to review your understanding, and we're going to think about our next steps in our learning journey and getting ourselves ready for the writing assessment as well. Now, if you need any additional support or help, the new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, you can always leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel Bookworm Teaching for more lessons and guidance on all things English. If you want to become part of our membership as well, guys, that will allow you to access a whole host of benefits. So things like having the content a lot quicker, and also allow us to give you one-on-one support if you need it, building up to the exam. Thank you ever so much for listening, guys, and all the best with your work and revision in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.